This is, I don't know, this might have some appeal to people. All right, you're drinking some coffee there, right? This is the coffee man. Like, he drinks, you drink what? You drink more than a pot of coffee a day if you can't.
I drink between 1 cup and 2 pots.
Okay,
Okay, depends.
yeah, so coffee, yeah, obviously is very valuable, but when we're talking, and I find this not just me, a lot of us people, we didn't drink any kind of caffeine, whether coffee or energy drinks or anything. But we didn't really drink caffeine until we got into, at least I didn't drink caffeine until I got into my early 30s. Before, I would just drink tea or drink orange juice or something. And you also, I think, did not drink a lot of caffeine until later in life. So what's your caffeine history?
I never drank coffee, or I never drank coffee at all. Uh, I used caffeine before I drank coffee, um, when I was a high performance stock clerk, and I just it was like a sport to me. I like seeing how much freight I could throw, and I couldn't take a break because I'd fall asleep because I was only sleeping like 45 minutes a day, except for like my one night off when I didn't have any day jobs. I'd crash for like a long period of time. I used to take a tea bag and put it between my cheek and gum and suck on that.
You just had tea bag.
Just
Oh,
to stay awake, so I would use that for
that's
caffeine.
interesting.
But in 2005, there was a brief period when I was only working 40 hours a week. I wasn't working Saturdays, and sometimes I was only working 36 hours. It was a kind of a low volume store. I was training and coaching at like 5 different places. I was dating 5 chicks. So I still wasn't
Salad
getting a lot.
days.
Still wasn't getting a lot of sleep. Actually, AJ, my roommate, who actually took care of my chick schedule for me
Oh yeah,
because
she
she was
cool.
afraid that Barbara the Barbarian was going to. In her words, she said, "I don't want the mean bitch to find one of the nice chicks at my front door and then come home and see a body there."
That's
So
right.
she took care of my chick schedule.
Good.
But she had just got done studying for her master's. She was working full time. She had never drank coffee. She got a coffee pot. She used it to stay awake, and she hated it. She didn't like the taste of it. She was going to throw it out, and she saw me standing there kind of weaving in the kitchen, going over a manuscript for my broken
Oh, I
dance.
remember.
This is when I
Yeah.
edited it. I used to stand at that kitchen counter.
You were like weaving and with your eyes closed.
And she said, "Hey, maybe I'll start using coffee. I got this coffee pot and this coffee." Boom, I inherited it. I took
Oh.
that to Sensei Steve's, the
Oh
Toxic
yeah,
Treehouse.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was 2005, so
Good
that
old
is
days.
20 years ago.
Wow.
So I was 42 when I started drinking coffee.
Wow. See, it's never too late.
And my blood pressure, well, what's my most recent blood? I think I'm clinically dead
Yeah,
because
you
my
got.
most recent blood pressure, I'm not drinking any alcohol, so I'm swearing. That's bad.
Oh,
My most recent blood pressure reading was 118 over 68. I don't know what
what?
that is, but it's not high.
How you standing?
I remember like when I was hurt real bad, my blood pressure was like 170 something over 140, and they said it was because of the pain. So I usually drink coffee until I get the shakes.
Oh, jeez.
Okay. Then it starts interfering with my writing. I know when I was staying with James Chosen, his wife hated the fact that him and I would drink so much in the evening when James got home. So he was getting home late. So normally I drink coffee till 4 in the afternoon. He gets home, switch immediately over to beer. Well, he
Yes.
wasn't getting home till 6 o'clock one night,
Oh,
and I'm still pouring coffee in the
Oh,
old
my gosh.
Starbucks like coffee grinder.
yeah, yeah.
And the beans are not falling in right. They're like scattering. And his wife, real sweet lady, they call me LaFond because we have the same first name. She taps me on the shoulder, and I know she hates us drinking alcohol. And I was shaking so bad, she taps me on the shoulder and she said, "LaFond, I think it's time for you to switch to beer."
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
got me a beer.
Nice.
So that's the basic strategy
Yeah.
to do a lot of writing, is to drink coffee until dinner time, and then so I can get to sleep, do a couple of beers or a couple of shots in the evening,
All right.
and then just kind of.
That's what real men do. That's right. So if all you crave types out there, try that out. So-
Butter, actually, for my first coffee, butter in it with cinnamon
Yeah.
seems to help my brain function a little bit early in the morning. I don't drink coffee until after I write my first piece. I drink
Okay.
coffee after I write my first piece, and I'll put butter and cinnamon in it. The butter seems to help my brain a little bit.
Yeah. Irish
And
butter.
since I'm a pretty good writer and I'm a horrible editor, I like to boost my IQ right before I get to the editing
Yeah.
phase.
So try that out, guys. Try out coffee with Irish butter, grass-fed Irish butter, and cinnamon, and try it out. As for myself, in terms of caffeine, like I said, I didn't drink. I think I started drinking caffeine when I started training in my career. Right? Let's see, when I was going to certification for the career I was in, then I started drinking caffeine and coffee. I remember the first time I drank a coffee. I think it was before that. It was a Starbucks coffee, like the super sweet ones they had in the store. I remember at work in Manhattan. I drank it, and I drank the whole thing. All of a sudden, I just walked out of the building and I ran around the building like Mike Tyson. I remember being like, oh, like I felt like I was like Super Mario getting the Starman or something. If people know the reference, I felt like I could like I just felt like I had to run around. It was very funny, and then slowly I adopted drinking, the no sugar energy drinks when I was training for my career, and but then coffee too. I like coffee. I just like beer. At one time, I didn't like beer, if you could believe that. When I think probably when I was a child, but the taste, the bitter coffee taste that nobody likes, I have now. I love it. I love the smell of it. And like I said, I don't know what I would do without caffeine.
It
And
helps me when I fast.
yeah, and it helps. Right, it helps when you're fast. I mean, at the end of the day, people have done that where all they eat is salt and drink coffee. And I think it's an old like meat and coffee. So you eat like bologna and meat for like 3 weeks, and it was like an old weight loss thing. So, do you remember, real quick? I know it was getting like kind of out there, but they used to have, was it Dexatrim? They used to have these things like for fatties back then who were probably not that fat looking back.
I,
Those were caffeine pills.
that is a subject of my short novel Can,
Ah,
Fentland Superman, that I wrote for Incognito on request.
yeah.
And Can, the basis for Can, was a guy I used to work with. His name was Mike, and he was a full-blooded blonde Italian.
Yeah, they
Okay,
exist.
real good,
They
looking
actually
Italian
exist.
guy, and he's one of the few guys that could freight more than me.
Oh.
I was sucking on a tea bag. Of course, he had powdered cocaine to help him out most of the week. But when he ran out of his powdered cocaine,
Uh-oh.
and he sneered at Alan Hoyt, who, God bless Alan Hoyt, he recently passed away, and I was smart enough to avoid a bet money bare knuckle fight with him that the other guys were trying to set up. He'd have absolutely murdered me. 6'4", 160. We called him Stick.
Stick.
And he was also a male prostitute. He was like
For women, right?
yes,
Yeah,
he was he was equipped like the proverbial equine stallion. Okay,
We didn't know that.
so him and Alan Hoyt and I used to have contests to see who could throw the most freight. I usually got second place. One of those guys would always win. But Alan was dead in the water when he ran out of crack, when he didn't have any more Ready Rock. He used to auction his paycheck off to the
Alright.
Jamaicans
That's
and
that
regular
guy.
blacks. Yeah.
Oh,
That
shit.
guy. Okay, because he used to be a barker for a whorehouse and auctioneer. He had like the gift again. Well, Mike DiCarlo, when he ran out of his powder cocaine, he would just sneer at us, and he would get a whole box of Dexatrim.
Oh.
He would get a cold cup of black coffee, and we would watch him do this. He would do this in the lunchroom.
Oh, my God.
Okay, and then he would get a warm Pepsi. He would take the whole handful of Dexatrim,
Oh.
chase it with the cold coffee, and then chase that with the warm Pepsi, which
Oh.
like wasn't just room temperatures. Like he'd let it sit on the heater a little bit, and he assured us that the warm Pepsi carbonation like injected
Oh,
that stuff into him, and
nice.
that's what made him like Superman.
That's
Okay,
interesting. So,
so yeah, so that was like an Uber caffeine
oh
solution right
man,
there.
you probably could do that with like now they still have the Stacker 2 and like the Dollar Tree, those things, you know.
But the last time I saw him, he weighed like 300 pounds. He had a parent, and he was delivering papers.
Well,
from
his
a
name's
car.
what, DeCarlo?
Yeah.
Of course he's gonna be 300 pounds. He's
He
he's
apparently
Italian.
like blew his pancreas out doing all
I'm
that
sure.
dextrose and stuff like that. He was a great guy.
You know, Italian, the you know, Italians get fat real easy. But and I just want to say to end this vid, we are not recommending that you do cocaine or crack or anything like that.
I don't care if people
Yeah.
do that.
Well, no, I'm saying, you know, but I'm just saying, for, you know, we're sticking with caffeine, you know. So, but if you want to simulate it, you now know how to do that. All right.